Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Taryn, you know what time it is? It's time to do the entire monthly retro gaming news roundup. Because even though February only had 28 days in it, it had some of the biggest updates in retro gaming and some of the most fun in the recent month memory. And honestly, it's always great because retro gaming is definitely getting bigger every single year. And this is definitely why retro gaming is making a comeback with some more modern audiences. And we're going to start right off with something like Mario Kart Wii Deluxe X. This absolutely blew me away in the month of February, a brand new Mario Kart with 752 total tracks. And don't think those tracks are going to be filler, absolutely straight up some of the best tracks I've ever played in a Mario Kart game. And because this is based on Mario Kart Wii, it's going to be a lot of fun mechanically as well. And that really is the thing we're seeing a lot of recently. We're seeing fan developers go in and basically make entirely new games out of something that's already existed. And there is a long lineage of different Mario Kart ROM hacks, and honestly it's hard to call Deluxe X even a ROM hack. It feels like an entirely new game just based around the base Wii game in and of itself. And that definitely is something that is absolutely exciting and one that I've had a metric crap ton of fun playing. Now before we get into the rest of the games in this video, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But one of the best things about Deluxe X is it actually has remade courses from games in the Mario Kart universe that came after the Wii version. You have the entirety of Mario Kart 8, you're going to have Mario Kart World tracks, and a ton of other tracks from games that came either before or after. And that really is a lot of fun. I love seeing all of the different graphical effects and looks for courses that are made in the Wii engine, but actually came out after the Wii left the market. And if you use Dolphin emulation like I'm using here, you can upscale it, you can get it into widescreen, you can do a metric ton with it to make it feel almost like a brand new Mario Kart game. Because so far, Nintendo has not updated Mario Kart World whatsoever, so we still have all the base courses that we had when we first bought that game. So if you want a metric ton more Mario Kart, then grab Deluxe X. It is absolutely a straight up 11 out of 10, and it really shows that developers out there know how to do what Nintendo won't, at least for some of their older games. Now moving into the second example here, this is Mario Kart 64 Remade, and it basically is a tech demo showing exactly what you can do on N64 if you are targeting emulation. And if you're the comments on that video said, well, it doesn't actually run on N64, don't forget that there is a long and storied lineage of N64 ROM hacks that just target emulators and not actual N64 hardware. And it's one of those things, you can love it, you can hate it, you can be somewhere in between, but it is something that has been going on for a very long time on N64 development. And seeing this thing run so smoothly, have such an incredible look, almost feels like an early GameCube title, not something that is based upon Super Mario 64. And again, this is basically an entire remake of what it could have been had the N64 had a lot more power. And this thing was definitely highly impressive. Now the developer has stated that he doesn't really plan on going any further than this. It is just kind of a fun tech demo and proof of concept, but I'm sure somebody else could and maybe even will pick up the idea and decide to try to do an entire Nintendo 64 Super Mario 64 remake that actually still works, at least in N64 emulation. And that is definitely something that is very exciting to look forward to in the future, because N64 is definitely in its new golden era. We have Analog 3D, we have Mr. FPGA, we have another innovation, Pyrite 64, which you're going to see very shortly in the video. N64 is just going to keep getting better and better. I think you're going to be seeing a lot more games pretty soon that basically push the hardware about as far as it ever has been pushed. And that definitely is exciting because the N64 compared to PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn had the smallest of the three libraries by far. So seeing fan developers and ROM hackers go out and make even more games for us that are just as good, if not better, than what we saw at retail is going to be a very fun time. So it's one of those things, the future is very bright for N64. We have a lot of stuff going on, but Super Mario 64 Remade absolutely shows that this game still holds up mechanically and can be made to look a lot prettier if you decide to throw some software emulation in the mix. So definitely check it out. Now you've probably already seen the review, so long as I actually did it and ran it, because I'm never quite sure what video I'm going to make when I sit down at the computer. But Rave Racer is out for basically all platforms, and Namco's classic arcade exclusive finally got a home port. And that is absolutely something that makes me very happy, and you guys are all excited when I shared the news for the launch announcement as well. It's just one of those games that is straight up an arcade classic that not many people got a chance to play back in the day, and you can now play it on basically any console. It also has an amazing soundtrack, so it's our first soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back. mean, in my opinion, Rave Race is absolutely what I would call a perfect game. From the visuals to the sound to the overall gameplay and course layout, it really doesn't do anything that I don't like. And at the beginning of the month, I did not have on my bingo card that we'd be playing Rave Race on modern consoles at the end of the month, and that definitely is a very exciting thing. So trust me, if you haven't checked this one out yet, I can't recommend it enough. It's basically available on any platform that you could possibly want out there. It has some new features, some online leaderboards as well, and even though like basically all the arcade archives things, you're not going to be getting any new courses or any new content. The content on offer here is still some of the best arcade racing ever made by a company not named Sega. So again, if you have never played Rave Race before, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to me to definitely check this one out. Now jumping back to the console sphere, we have seen some proof of life concepts and some proof of life evidence of a Twilight Princess PC port in development. And because last month Twilight Princess hit that 100% decompiled status, it's absolutely insane to see just how quickly the progress is being made. And I've been talking a lot about different decomps, recomps, and PC ports on the channel recently, but this still qualifies for the retro gaming news because now a port is in development. And trust me, it's definitely going to take a decent amount of time because this game is absolutely way more complicated because of its generation than something like an N64 PC port or anything else like that. But this is definitely a patience is a virtue sort of situation because even getting this far where a PC port is running, showing graphics and having any sort of animation in and of itself is a very hard task because getting the game from not running to running is one of the hardest things. And then from there, developers will go ahead and basically remake, port, and rebuild the entirety of Twilight Princess onto a more modern operating system and environment. So think of it this way, it might take 6 months, it might take 12 months, it might take 2 years, but at some point in time, you're going to be playing Twilight Princess on your PC in widescreen with 60 frames per second or better support, tons of mods, and the ability to basically do whatever you want with the game. And just seeing the world of Twilight Princess here drawing in, even if obviously it is very corrupted compared to the actual retail game, this is one of the most exciting things I've seen in February, and I know a ton of you were excited about it as well. So next time there's some PC port updates, I'll definitely run a new video. Now jumping back to Mario Kart and jumping back a generation, this is RT GP or Retro Track Grand Prix. This is a brand new ROM hack of Double Dash for the GameCube, incorporating a ton of different new courses in. So if you are a Mario Kart fan, it's been an absolutely spicy month when it comes to being able to play brand new games in the Mario Kart universe. And that absolutely excites me because I love these games. My wife and I play them together, and Double Dash, as far as mechanics are concerned, really has never been incorporated back into a Nintendo-made Mario Kart sense. It's one of those things you either love it or you hate it, but it is for me, and being able to get a ton of new tracks in the GameCube version with all of these different retro throwbacks is amazing. Well, listen, and I'll be right back. Amazing soundtrack, amazing gameplay, and just amazing that we get this many new tracks in something like Double Dash. So between Mario Kart Wii Deluxe X as well as Mario Kart Retro Track Grand Prix, we're absolutely drowning in brand new Mario Kart in the month of February, and because it is one of the best kart racing franchises ever made in my opinion, that means we're all winning. And I'm sure soon you're going to see even more of these games come out. I know of at least one that people are working on, and don't forget Mario Kart Amped Up does exist on the N64 as well, so basically every Mario Kart game is getting something fun and new. We've talked about the Wii, we've talked about GameCube, let's move back to N64 because in the month of February, Hail the Dodongo released Pyrite 64, which is a brand new SDK and game engine for modern N64 development. And the demo game they made to showcase what it can do, Cathode Quest 64 absolutely looks stunning and kind of looks like maybe a GameCube tech demo from the year before it released than it does an N64 game. And like I said, the N64 is absolutely excelling and living in a new golden era. Between all of the different FPGA cores, all of the different new fan games, and all of the different new ways to develop N64 games, I think because of Pyrite 64 here, you're going to see dozens upon dozens of brand new games come to N64 in the next 6, 12, 18, and 24 months that absolutely blow you out of the water as far as what you actually think an N64 is capable of. And that really is the fun thing about modern gaming and modern game development. It isn't just ROM hacks, it isn't just FPGA cores. People are out there deciding that they have an idea on how to make development on retro hardware even easier, bringing all those developments into a modern environment and then allowing for the compilation back to N64. And we're talking about games that work on real hardware here, not software emulation. So that is definitely a very exciting thing to see. Because I love N64, I love the hardware, and we all know at this point in time that talented developers can get a lot more out of it than developers back in the 90s and early 2000s could. So definitely watch out for Pyrite 64 and games made with it, because I think very shortly we're going to be seeing an absolute deluge of amazing things coming to the console, and it definitely deserves it because, again, smallest library of its generation, but still a lot of power and horsepower on tap that's never been used before, and I can't wait to see what devs come up for this one. Now let's pop over to Sega. It's been a very Nintendo heavy video. This is Sonic Megamix Plus, and it's basically a reimagining of a ROM hack that was in development but never actually got finished. And I said in February that this honestly is one of the best 2D Sonic games ever made, up there with Sonic 2, Sonic 3, as well as Sonic Mania, and I stand by that actual determination, and basically everyone that played it agreed with me, so it wasn't really very controversial, because honestly Mario gets a lot of love, whether it's Mario Kart or Mario 64, so Sonic definitely has to get a lot of love in February as well, and it's one of those things. I love the franchise, been playing it since I've been a kid, so getting new games in 2D, especially games that are this good and polished, straight up magic. It's also going to be our next soundtrack sample because it has incredible music, as all Sonic games do, so I'll go ahead and listen for 45 seconds and come back for a bit more news. I mean, honestly, Sonic Megamix Mania has so many incredible levels, so many incredible ideas, and so much good music. This is something that, had Sega released it at retail, people would pay $40, $60 for all day long and be absolutely happy. But honestly, it seems like Sega's never quite sure what to do with Sonic anymore, because they basically ignore the developers that have helped them revitalize the 2D portion and just do such random things. And even though I am a huge Sega fan from back in the day and still continue to be so, I'm always confused as to exactly what Sega's thinking when they're actually trying to do anything with the franchise. So I'll have to wait and see what Sega does with Sonic next, but in the meantime, something like Megamix Mania is a straight up perfect game, absolutely banger from start to finish, and if you haven't played it yet, you're totally missing out. Now, if we're going to talk about 16-bit Sonic, we may as well talk about 16-bit Mario, and that is because Super Mario Bros. Remasters was updated to 1.1 in the month of February, bringing in the classic physics, so it kind of feels a little bit more like the actual original Super Mario Bros. There's also a ton of new tools as far as the level creator is concerned. As I've said in previous videos, this basically feels like Mario Maker 3, even though Nintendo hasn't actually made that game yet. I am always hyper impressed what people can do with these PC ports, and I will say Super Mario Bros. Remastered just shows that with the level of creativity that devs have out there, as well as level designers, this is something that you're probably going to be playing for 5 to 10 years, seeing brand new levels in all different styles, classic, Kaizo, and otherwise. And I absolutely love covering this game with all of its resource packs, because you're basically able to turn something like Super Mario Bros. Remastered into whatever you want. And it is great to see this get continued support, and if you haven't downloaded 1.1 yet, it is marked still as a beta, and they say it's unstable, but I've had absolutely no issues with it whatsoever. If you have checked it out, definitely leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. But between Sonic as well as Mario in February, we got some incredible new updates or new 16-bit style games, and that is definitely something that should make everyone happy, because these are classics for a reason. I couldn't be happy enough to see them. Now, sticking with Nintendo, but jumping back a generation and going from a handheld to a console, we have Link's Awakening DX HD, the PC port of the original Link's Awakening. And I ran a video on this saying it had been updated, and basically everyone was surprised to find out that this wasn't just the 1.0 release anymore. That is because other developers have taken up the mantle of the project and basically been releasing patches for that original game that kind of made Nintendo get a little bit grumpy. So this is definitely something. It is so much better than when it first came out. So if you think to yourself, you played the 1.0 release, and sometimes it would freeze or crash, or there would be game-breaking bugs in it. That is no longer the case. This thing is from start to finish absolutely perfectly playable. You can get to the end, you can play everything about the game, and honestly it kind of just ends up feeling like straight up magic to see a Game Boy Color game look this incredible, and it really makes me want to see a bunch more of these Game Boy projects, because basically everyone in the comments was talking about the different Zelda games that could get this treatment, and it's one of those things I'd love to see absolutely each and every one of them actually get it. But definitely if you are developing this, maybe wait until it is done before you release to anyone, because the Nintendo ninjas are mad out there. They've been on a little bit of a rampage this month with all the different DMCA takedown requests for different emulators. So it's definitely one of those things, if you're working on it, don't tell anybody until it's finished and you can release it, because don't forget, nothing ever disappears from the internet. And that is why something like Link's Awakening DX HD can be updated, because even though Nintendo got feisty about the original version, it never truly left the internet. Let's do another soundtrack soon, because the music in this game is incredible and it sounds so good coming out of the PC port. So go ahead and listen for 35 seconds, but come back. I still have even more retro gaming news to share for the month. Now, in one of the funniest and most random happenstance circumstances, Banjo on the N64 got not one but two different English translations, basically within 24 hours of each other from two different teams. And it's one of those things, you don't get an N64 translation every single day, let alone two from two separate parties, but that's exactly what happened. And even though this game was way more well known as being a Dreamcast release, it got its life started on the N64, and this is straight up a 10 out of 10, maybe even 11 out of 10, because we didn't really get too many fully 2D games on the N64, but of course this one is in full 2D, as is Mystery Makers, made by the same developers in fact. And again, I love this game, and when it actually came out to North America on the Dreamcast, the translation wasn't very exciting whatsoever. So this is definitely going to be way more fun to play than the North American Dreamcast version. Yes, it's going to get a little tiny bit of slowdown here and there because it's on N64, but it's absolutely an outstanding game, and if you haven't played it before, you 100% owe it to yourself to play it. It's basically like an action platform bullet hell shmup in all the best ways possible. And as far as which translation to play, they do have a completely different tone, even if they are similar, so you can kind of decide which one it is you want to check out. But trust me, you'd be missing out if you didn't play Banjo in English. The story is so weird, it's so incredibly strange, and now it's 100% more understandable, because if you couldn't read and understand kanji, you'd have absolutely no idea what was going on in the N64 version of the game, because it only came out in Japan, never left their home country. So now you can go ahead and install that patch to your legally owned ROM, and go ahead and enjoy one of the best games in full English. Now moving over to the last thing I have to talk about this month, obviously Banjo Kazooie got recomped in the month of January, and now in the month of February we have HD textures. This was a very interesting video. I would say 8 out of 10 people said they absolutely loved the textures and enjoyed the hell out of them. The other 2 people basically hated them, said they were slop, and thought that it was a bad thing I even ran the video. And these things are always surprising to me. And I always say on the channel, not everything is for everyone. If you don't like it, you totally don't have to use it, because the best part is, this is just a mod file to go ahead and use in Banjo Kazooie Recompiled. So if you don't like them, that is totally fair. You can just go ahead and use the original textures. They're there for people that want them and not there for people that don't. So just remember, don't yell at me because you don't like something. I didn't make it, and the developer spent a lot of time on making it, so if you're not enjoying it, that's totally fine. Everyone gets their opinion on the channel. I'm just always surprised when I'm met with hostility about something as simple as an HD texture pack. Because for me personally, this thing is just straight up awesome. I love seeing this, and it kind of feels like Banjo Kazooie was held over for something like a GameCube launch day game versus something in later life on the N64. and trust me, if you haven't played Banjo Kazooie Recompiled yet, you owe it to yourself to do so. It's straight up amazing. You have different mods for it. You can kind of craft the Banjo Kazooie experience you want, and it is so much better in my opinion than playing on a real N64, based upon the fact that you get a good frame rate in and of itself. So definitely check this one out if you want. I'll leave a link in the description of the video where you can get the HD packs. But if I had to pick one thing that was my favorite from the month of February, an absolutely stacked month for retro gaming news, it has to be something like Mario Kart Wii Deluxe X. I just had a ton of fun playing all of the Mario Kart 8 courses in this, and just seeing what developers are doing out there with Mario Kart Wii. Because even though Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still my favorite Mario Kart ever made, I would say the Wii version is up there as well, because it is a game my wife and I played to death, and it's one of those games that I'll always go back to fondly. So that is the retro gaming news for the month of February. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what your favorite bit of news was, and I'll see you guys at the end of March to talk about what happened then. Hope you enjoyed the video though. Bye bye.